When we think about human history, there are few practices as devastating and far-reaching as slavery. But how did this tragedy begin? Why did societies around the world, from ancient Mesopotamia to Africa, Europe, and the Americas, engage in human slavery? The roots of slavery are deeply intertwined with the rise of agriculture. About 10,000 years ago, humans transitioned from small nomadic tribes to settled communities, establishing the first agricultural societies. With the production of food came the need for labor, a labor-intensive process that required constant maintenance from planting to harvesting. In this context, early communities often faced labor shortages, especially when they wanted to expand their farms or build new settlements. So when wars broke out over land or resources, captives were taken and put to work. This was one of the first recorded instances of human slavery. Captives forced to work to build and expand civilizations. As societies like Mesopotamia and Egypt grew, so did their reliance on slave labor. Slavery became institutionalized, an organized system with laws and practices. War captives, debtors, and sometimes even criminals were enslaved to serve the state, temples, or wealthy landowners. The Code of Hammurabi, one of the world's earliest legal documents, even includes specific laws regarding slaves. This document shows how slaves were treated as property, with laws governing their behavior, rights, or lack thereof, and punishments. As empires expanded, so did the demand for slaves. Ancient Greece, Rome, and Persia all had economies built around slave labor, with slaves working in fields, homes, mines, and more. In Rome alone, up to a third of the population was enslaved in the 1st century BC. For the elite, slaves symbolized wealth and power, making slavery not just a labor solution, but a marker of status. Slavery became a complex institution, where race, nationality, and economic factors dictated who could be enslaved. Although we often associate slavery with the transatlantic slave trade, it existed on every continent. In Africa, enslaved people were sometimes incorporated into communities, even achieving significant roles. In Asia, dynasties such as the Han and Mongols also enslaved captives. Indigenous groups in the Americas had similar practices, although they were often based on warfare and rivalry rather than purely economic gain. The history of slavery is as old as civilization itself. It began with agriculture, grew with empires, and adapted across cultures and continents. While we have made progress in eradicating it, its legacy still affects us today. Reflecting on the origins of slavery can remind us of the importance of equality and human dignity. Understanding the past helps us build a better future, one where freedom, respect, and justice are the foundation of all societies. Thanks for watching, and if you want to learn more about the impact of history on the present, don't forget to like and subscribe.